In today's video, we're gonna take a look at the OBSBOT Talent, which is a new device that they just released. Basically, it's a 5-inch touch monitor that's at the same time a recorder and a multi-camera switcher. It's got two HDMI input for connecting HDMI cameras, and it's got two USB input as well, and some other outputs and inputs that we're gonna be talking about in this video. And of course, it's an encoder as well. It's gonna be able to allow you to go live directly to either Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or customer RTMP. It's got even SRT and NDI. So this not taking much time. I'm gonna give you a full walkthrough, show you the device and what it's actually able to do, and at the end I'm gonna give you a conclusion, maybe if this is something that you actually should consider getting for your live streaming, especially if you're doing mobile live streaming. I'm sure you're gonna love it. So let's not take much time, let's get right into it. What is going on, guys? I'm production tips and tools here, helping you master live streaming. So OBSBOT Talent, as I just said, guys, is actually this little 5-inch monitor that can actually do a lot of things, and it is a super exciting device. And of course, we're gonna take a look at everything that it can do. But first of all, we're gonna take a look at the key features. These are the features that personally I find very interesting. But other than that, I'm gonna leave a link down below. Check it out if you want to know and go deeper in terms of what the device can actually do. But here are my main features that I actually want you guys to know for this video. First one, of course, is gonna take up to 4K 30 frames per second. That's 4K input, right? It's gonna take any input up to 4K. Now, this is different from outputting 4K. It's not gonna be able to stream or to record in 4K. For recording and streaming, it's gonna be able to actually output up to 1080p 60 frames per second. It can input, if you have a 4K camera or 4K webcam, you're gonna be able to input that. But to output, it's only up to 1080p 60 frames per second. You can do 30, of course, and lower. You can even do 720p if you wanna do that. Second, as I just said, it's got two HDMI inputs, so you can actually input two HDMI, up to two HDMI cameras. In fact, as you can see right now, my main camera is actually connected right here, and I've got another camera connected right here on HDMI 1. So as you can see, I can switch from camera 1, camera 2, and on the top of that, it's got two USB inputs. So we have one USB right here on this side, and then we have another USB input on the other side. And right now I have actually, just so you know, the two USB inputs allow you to connect up to two USB webcams. Okay, again, if you're using OBSBOT webcams, that's gonna be easier, and it's gonna be awesome because right now I have the OBSBOT Tiny 2 connected directly into the device. And as you can see, this image right here that you guys are looking at, this is the OBSBOT Tiny 2. So if you want to prove, as you can see, it is actually tracking me. So there's nothing that tracks better than the OBSBOT Tiny 2 on the market right now. Just kidding. But yeah, if you can track, you know, it's OBSBOT Tiny 2 for sure. So another thing, it's got USB out, USB type C out right here. So basically this can be used, it's got two modes. The first one can be used as a UVC. So right now I can actually connect it to my computer, and if I want to get the program out of whatever it's being recorded or whatever inputs that's connected into the device, I can actually get that picture sent to something like OBS, Zoom, if I'm doing Zoom calls and stuff like that, which is awesome. But also it can be set to what they call DP out, which is basically display port. So basically you can connect, if you have it, it's probably gonna require to have a cable, and I'm assuming it's a USB type C to display port, that it's gonna allow you to connect to a DisplayPort monitor. And with that, you have options to either show program out or show multi-view, or even show like the actual screen. If I wanted to maybe to do a demo of the device and I just want to show the entire screen, I can do that as well. So it's got headphones jack. So if you want to monitor your audio, it's got actually a good audio mixer. I'm going to show you that in a minute. So you can monitor your audio on this side. It's got also a microphone input that could actually use either microphone level or line input kind of level. Right now, that's how I'm recording the audio that's being recorded through the device, because I have this little Holy Land microphone connected to it directly. Other than that, it's got a 64 gig internal memory, which is awesome, because if you want to record internally, you can either use the internal memory, or if you want to use an SD card, it has an SD card slot that you can actually use to record on SD card if you don't want to use the internal memory, which is awesome. Next, we have an Ethernet port. Right now, as you can see, I have an Ethernet port connected to it to be able to feed my internet connection into it for live streaming, of course, but also it does support Wi-Fi, so you can connect Wi-Fi if you want. Of course, because this is a mobile device, is something that you would use on the go. On the top of that, it does support also cellular SIM cards if you want to use that. However, to be able to use that, you're going to have to use a USB dongle. So it does not have an actual slot where you can insert a SIM card. So if you want to use a SIM card, you're going to have to buy a little dongle. Probably going to get one from Amazon, and I'm going to leave a link down below to some that I'll actually suggest. And you can use that one through the USB input on the device. But actually it is supported. Another thing that support Bluetooth, either you want to monitor your audio through Bluetooth, you can also input a Bluetooth kind of device into it. Again, I didn't have time to test that, but if you need it, it's something that's actually there. Another exciting feature is the fact that it actually does support this NPF kind of Sony battery type. Well, they don't have to be Sony, but you know what I mean, right? So you can connect up to 2 batteries. They're actually swappable. So if one dies, you can actually, the other one will keep running, and you can actually go ahead and charge it and replace, maybe bring a new one, which is awesome. But on the top of that, it does support AC power. So it's gonna come with an AC power adapter that you can actually plug into it and be able to run it over AC power. Next, it does support ISO recording up to 2 feeds. Right now, as you can see, I'm going to show you in a minute when we get into the software. It does have 2 encoders or 2 encoding engines, okay, / recorders. So basically, right now, I can record up to 2 feeds, and that's how I'm doing it right now. And you can set them to either record just the input, so could like do record HDMI 1 and HDMI 2, or you could do like program and HDMI 1. You could do whatever you want in terms of like which feed you want to record. And actually, that's how I'm recording this video. I've got program 1 being recorded on SD card and HDMI 2 being recorded as well. And that's one of my cameras. So program is just whatever I'm doing. The second feed is actually my main camera that you guys are watching. So if you are able to watch my main camera right now, that means it actually does work. You also have the ability to set different bit rate, either for recording or streaming. That's really possible, and I'm gonna show you that in a minute. I don't know if this is a feature, but it's actually the fact that the little monitor is built really tough. It's actually 100% metal, and I'm gonna show you that in a minute. It's really tough. It's something that you can actually take out and feel safe that if you drop it, I don't know if you drop it, I don't want you to drop it, but if you were to drop it, I don't think anything will happen to it because it's really built tough. It's got a little fan on the back as well to keep it kind of cool. And it's touch screen, so you can, everything's gonna be touch screen. As you can see, I'm changing things on the fly. And of course, I thought that was the last feature, but I cannot end without telling you guys that it does support PTZ. So most of webcams are gonna be able to connect to this device, of course, because it's made by OBSBOT. So if you use like the OBSBOT Tiny 2, it's got PTZ capability. So you can actually be able to control that camera. You can create presets. You can save some presets using the actual switcher, which is amazing. And I'm going to show you that, of course, in a minute. And it does support streaming directly to YouTube, Twitch, and of course, Facebook. However, you can add customer RTMP. You can do NDI, and it does support SRT as well, which is like, oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. So let's not take much time. We're going to dive into the last feature, which is the software. So I'm going to show you how the whole thing works. And of course, I can't demo everything, but I'm gonna show you what I can. And of course, if you're interested in it, you gotta go ahead and actually get yourself a unit. Now, before we go too far, full disclosure, this device was sent to me by OBSBOT for the purpose of this review. However, this is not a sponsored video, and they're not getting to approve this video before it's actually published. So why don't we talk about what we get in the box before I actually get to the software. Now, in the box, really, it's just gonna be the actual unit, as you can see, and it's gonna come with this little hood. The hood is really to, if you're using it in, you know, in a sunny place, just to be able to give you a good angle and to be able to see the screen. And I haven't used it yet outdoors to see how bright the screen is gonna be and if you're gonna be able to see everything, no problem. But it's actually good, and the hood is actually 100% metal. It's gonna come with these 2 screws that you can actually gonna use to really make sure it's tight on the actual monitor. And guys, I'm really impressed with the material. You know, it's 100% metal. It's really built tough, and I do appreciate that. Another thing you're gonna see, obviously, is just some accessories. These 2 little stands that will actually cover the battery slots, all right? Or, because if you don't want to use the batteries, you don't want to leave that empty, but they're also going to play as stands. So if you're using it on a desk, you can actually, you know, have some sort of an angle to be able to view. But other than that, you can remove these stands. Again, the 100% metal, and be able to use these NPF batteries if you want to use it over battery, especially if you're doing a mobile live stream. Other than that, you got the, you know, little adapters depending on which country you are in for the AC adapter. And of course, you're gonna get the AC adapter. And actually, the box looked really good. Looked like I felt like I was unboxing an iPhone. Anyways, so that's pretty much everything that you get in the box. Very straightforward. On the back here, you get this little fan. This is something that I actually appreciated, and it's gonna keep the unit really cool. And right now, I'm even using it, and I have it connected everywhere. I have a lot of things connected to it, and really never had any overheating issue, which is awesome. So it does keep the unit really cool. We also got ventilation on all the sides, and also you can see on the top you really got nothing. It's just the OBSBOT logo, and on the bottom you got this 1/4-inch kind of connector that you can use to mount it to a tripod or something like that, or a light stand, or the top of your camera, whatever. You have that. And then you got the Ethernet port is underneath, and USB Type-C, and of course the AC plug, and HDMI and USB plugs are actually on the sides, which is awesome. So when you actually, right now it's actually on, but to turn on, you got the on and off button on the side here. And that's pretty much it. Now I've got my hood already installed. Once you turn it on, really it's gonna give you the main menu. There's nothing really fancy in there. And once you get here, as you can see, this is our menu. It may ask you to create an account. You're gonna go ahead and use probably a Gmail account. It's gonna be easier. Just create an account, use your Gmail account. It's gonna be something straightforward, really not that much. As you can see, if I go to my account and security, you can see I got my email attached to it. I got my password and everything. You can log out if you want to, no problem. But other than that, the first thing when you open, this is what it's gonna look like. Okay, another thing that I forgot to mention, the unit actually does support either vertical streaming or horizontal streaming. So if I go here where I go to show list, you can see that I have default show, which is 16:9, but also have another show which is on default as well. The first one says presenting, that's the one that I'm using, but I have another one which is default show 9:16, which is a vertical stream. So if I wanted to do a vertical stream, I can simply switch, and the monitor is actually gonna switch to vertical mode, and I'm gonna be able to go live to things like Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube shows without any problem. Okay, still use the USB or HDMI inputs, no problem. Now, another thing, you can also go ahead and create your own show. You can name it, you can choose the frame rate, you can choose which orientation that you want, and you're gonna be able to name it whatever you want and choose your settings, which is awesome, all right? Again, right now I'm running on the default shows, no problem. Another thing is, if you go to show list, we already saw that. If you go to album is gonna be where all the recordings are going to be. So if you have some things they have recorded in the past, either on SD card or internal memory. This is where everything is gonna be. You can see you got video, you got images, no problems. You can take screenshots. You see, as right now I'm recording, but also have this camera icon that I can use to take a screenshot, you know, or just a picture of whatever is happening on screen, no problem. And the last thing I believe is gonna be the feedback and help. This is mostly if you want to send some feedback to OBSBOT. However, we have also the settings button. This is where most of the things are going to happen. First off, we have network. So network, this is where you, if I go to network, you got cellular. This is where you, if you have any cellular dongle connected, this is where you're gonna be able to see it. You have Wi-Fi, okay, and we have Ethernet. We also have hotspot and tethering. It does support hotspot and tethering, which is awesome. Next, we have Bluetooth. Right now, we have nothing on Bluetooth, so we're not gonna take much time there. We have the display. On display, you can change the brightness. You can have settings for energy consumption, kind of settings, especially if you're streaming over battery. Maybe you wanna save some batteries. You also have color management, where you can actually choose either you wanna go natural, boosted, saturated, and adaptive. All right, we're gonna talk about this because I've got some few concerns about the monitor. Maybe it's the unit that I have. But next we have audio, and then this is your settings for audio. You can choose your monitor device. You can choose your input delay. If you want to apply delay to a certain audio device, you can do that, which is actually a cool feature. And you have your output microphone to monitor device. If you're monitoring and you want to output that, you can toggle that. You also can choose if you want to output over USB Type-C, if you want to output audio, which in my opinion you should do. And that's pretty much it. And then, of course, there's an audio mix that I'm going to show you in a minute. It's actually awesome. And we got storage. This is where you can manage your storage. You got internal storage. As you can see, I've used 15.2 gig out of 64 gig available. I've got an SD card inserted. I've used 41 gig out of 128-ish gig available. And then we got screenshot, and actually choose where you want to store that, okay? Record, you can choose if you want to record to SD card first. Again, if you have an SD card inserted, in my opinion, you want to use SD card first before internal storage, because you want to leave the internal storage for, like, you know, emergency stuff whenever you don't have SD cards. Next up, we have encode. This is where the magic happens. So as you can see, as I told you guys, we have two main encoders or encoding engines. So we have encode 1, and this is where you can choose presets that you want. You have already some presets already kind of pre-made for you. You can actually go ahead and delete some. So if I want, right now I cannot modify because it's being used to record, but you can delete some settings in here. As you can see, we have program recording, H264, 1080p, 60 frames per second, and then we get 66.0 Mbps, which is 6 megabits per second bit rate. All right. The second one is a little different. It's 4.5 Mbps. Everything else is the same. Of course, it's got 1080p, 30 frames per second. We got 720p. And if I want it, right now I'm using this one. This is the one that I created that I'm using to record my video, which is on HDMI 2, H264 encoder, 1080p, and I've got 30 frames per second, and I've got 16 Mbps. Now 16 is really high, but I'm using it to record, and those are the settings that I usually use to record my videos when I'm recording with Streamlabs. So that's why I copied and I put in here. Now if you want it, you can add another one. As you can see, you can choose if you want to record HDMI 1, if you want to record HDMI 2, if you want to record webcam 1 or webcam 2, you can do that. All right, so let's say I wanted to record webcam 1, and then you can choose which codec. So you can either do H264 or you can do H265. Now resolution, you can choose 540, 720, or 1080. In my opinion, we're probably gonna do 1080 all the time. Anyways, we got the frame rate. We got 15, 30, 60. In my opinion, we're probably gonna do 30. Let's go ahead and choose 30. Now the video bit rate, you can go ahead and choose whatever you want. And then audio bit rate, I always use the highest. Again, you can choose encode level, baseline, main, high. You can also choose if you want to use VBR or variable bitrate or CBR. And once you're done, all you gotta do is you just click add, and as you can see, it's available. So whenever you want to do like an ISO recording, you can actually choose this setting for encode 1. That's what's going to be recorded. Again, I'm not gonna change it because right now, as you can see, there's a little red check here. It's because I'm using this encode 1 setting to record my HDMI 2 and for the purpose of recording this video. Now you have encode 2. Now encode 2, you have different settings as well. And then for the encode 2, as you can see, for the encode 2, as you can see, I'm now recording on it. I'm doing a ISO recording, and I'm recording the program out H.264 codec, 1080p, 30 frames per second, and I'm recording in 6 megabits per second bitrate. Now it's kind of low, but technically I don't need it. I'm just testing. Usually I'll go, something higher than 10 megabits per second for recording. All right. So that's how you use the encode function. Now you're going to see it when you go to stream here. As you can see, you have multiple streaming platforms already kind of pre-built into it. You got Twitch, you got Facebook, you got NDI, you got RTMP server, you got SRT caller, you got YouTube, you got Facebook group. This was a custom RTMP. I just configured it to be Facebook group. But if you want, you can do add server. As you can see, you got YouTube. All these are going to show up because if you want, you can delete some. And then you got NDI, RTMP, and SRT, right? So you can do custom RTMP. You can also do SRT and the NDI. And some of the YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, they are kind of pre-built into it. And I'm going to show you how actually easy it is to go live on YouTube or Facebook, because you don't have to type in the stream key unless you do custom RTMP. But if you just want to go to live to YouTube or Facebook, you can simply log in. As you can see, I'm actually logged in on my YouTube channel right now through YouTube. So it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. Now we got the record function. As you can see, there's actually an ability to record the tail air. Now we're not going to cover that in this video. Again, there's so many things to cover. But as you can see right now, I have local recording. Okay. And as you can see, I have record 1 is toggled, and I have record 2 is toggled. Again, record 1 is recording my HDMI camera, and then record 2 is actually recording the program, right? So that's the ISO recording function. Now, if I go to switch, you can choose if you want to switch to scenes, like if you want to like a quick switch scene, if you want a transition, and you can send the transition delay. And you can also like do fade to black duration. So let's choose fade for now and go back because it was cut before. So if I go back, it's going to give you some messages sometimes. But if I go back here, as you can see, if I come from HDMI 1 to HDMI 2, you can see that is actually fading. You can go ahead and go back to settings and go to switch and then go to scene transition duration. You can see that it's taking a little longer, right? That's because I just changed the transition type. So again, I always use cat, so I can go to switch and then go to scene transition and just do a dry cut. And as you can see, if I switch, it's just a dry cut, which is awesome. All right. So next up, we're into settings here. As you can see, the screen is actually super responsive. Actually, I'm very impressed by the screen performance. So the next is the back LED lights. We have 2 LED lights on the back. Now you can set them up to be the battery kind of level indicator, or you can set them up to be used as NDI tally lights, all right, which is awesome if you're using NDI. Next, you have USB Type-C. Now for USB Type-C, you can choose if you want the USB Type-C to be used as UVC. Right now it's connected directly to my computer and I'm using it in UVC mode. However, if you have like a display port cable, I believe it's gonna be USB Type-C to display port connected to a display port monitor. You can go to settings and then you can choose if you want to show a clean program, if you want to use a clean preview, or a multi-view or duplicate the screen. So basically we'll just duplicate whatever is being done on screen. So in my case, if I had that function, I would probably use that to record what I'm doing here so you guys can see a clean feed. But other than that, you can loop in HDMI 1 if you want to use HDMI kind of loop. One of the cameras, loop them through the monitor and send them out through the USB Type-C. You can also loop HDMI 2. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to loop the USB. Let's say if you had like some webcams connected to it. Other than that, another thing you can do, you can also rename. So right now, the UVC name. So whatever is going to show when either you're doing a Zoom call, you're doing like OBS recording, whatever is going to show there as a name, you can, again, personally, I left it as OBSBOT Talent, but if you want, you can give it a different name. You can also choose to use the MTP mode, which is for transferring files. So if you want to transfer all the recordings, in fact, that's how I'm going to do it. Once I'm done recording this video, I'm going to either use my SD card, take it out and send it to my computer, or transfer to my computer, or I can use the USB Type-C and then put in a file transfer mode and be able to transfer all my files to my computer, which is awesome. So next up we have replay. This is something that you can actually toggle if you need to replay some of the things, especially if you're doing sports. This is gonna be awesome for sports people because that supports 60 frames per second, which is awesome. So you have the replay function, you have the remote control function, which is gonna be for maybe a different video. I don't know if I'm gonna ever do it. And you have the system for your language, your day and time, firmware, reset, device status, and about. Mostly it's gonna be about the device. Probably gonna go there to update the firmware and stuff like that. That's pretty much it when it comes to settings. Now, apart from settings, as you can see, it's actually pretty easy to use. Once you open it, as you can see, as soon as you connect all the cameras, you don't have to do anything. Right now I've got my webcam connected, which is this one right here. This is the OBSBOT Tiny 2 webcam 1. I've got HDMI 1, this one right here, which is my Sony ZV-E10 connected on the side here. Hello ZV-E10. All right. And I've got HDMI 2, which is my main camera that you're watching right now. And it's actually the one that's being recorded. So if it looks good, that means the monitor actually, or the talent did a good job recording. If it looks bad, that means he did a bad job. Other than that, you have a picture input. This is just a generic picture, but you can actually change it. You can also add your own input. So in fact, let me go to plus here. All right. So if I go to plus here, you can see this is a way to add a new scene. So you can add like HDMI 1, you can add it multiple times, right? I can add it and then I can modify it. So if I wanted to, I can go to HDMI 1. Now this time I want to flip it. Let's say I want to flip it horizontal, something like this. And this is crazy. I can also like crop it if I want it, or I can make it look kind of weird. All right. I mean, this is probably something that you don't want to do, but I just want to give you you have size, position. You can change position. You can change the size. You can crop it. Let's say if I want to crop it, I can do something like this. Boom. And then say save. And then maybe let's bring it back to this. All right. And then if I wanted to frame it, I can choose the color to frame it and then weight, something like this, position again, and then label. I can call it HDMI 1, hit save. I don't know why it's upside down, but anyways, you can see I don't want to spend too much time here, but you can see that this is something you can come from a source, one input, you can create a new source. And then as you can see, it's going to show up somewhere here. So whenever I want to add to the screen, I can click to it and then boom, it's going to show up, it's going to look a little weird because everything is kind of blank. It's not an overlay, but it's here, right? So you can do all this stuff. You can modify any source that you want. Again, that was just an extreme example. But if I wanted to, I can go to something like add a video clip, right? And then I can go to internal storage and I can go to some of the things that I have recorded before. I can bring it in. As you can see, it's going to bring it in. And then if I want to play back that video during a live stream or a recording, whatever production, I can actually play it back. So if I have like an intro video, things like that, I can actually save them on the device and I'm gonna be able to play them back. If I have some pictures, if I have a thumbnail, if I have some graphics, right? As you can see, it's here and I can play it if I want. This is something that I have recorded before. Again, I can hit save and as you can see, it's actually going to be available, right? So if I click to it, boom, and I wanna play it, as you can see, it says video playing and then it's playing, which is awesome, right? And it's being recorded, of course, at the same time through my program, right? So these are some of the stuff that you can actually add. You can add a picture, you can add an RTMP pull or push, you can add an SRT stream, you can add a phone camera, which is gonna be something that we probably gonna cover in a different video. You can also add an NDI source, which is awesome. So as you can see, you have endless possibilities, plus all the cool stuff that you can actually do. So let's go back to our webcam, which is the live feed. Again, in my opinion, you want to keep it simple. You want to design your show depending on what you need, and you can actually go back and forth. Now for switching, again, you just go through the inputs, just switch, boom, picture, HDMI 1, HDMI 2, HDMI 3. The next thing we're gonna take a look at is this button right here. It's gonna be our audio mixer. So as you can see, I have all the audio inputs kind of muted, but as you can see, you have your camera 1, HDMI 1 and HDMI 2. You have USB audio, which would be my webcam. You have my microphone, which is this microphone right here. This is the microphone that I'm wearing right here on my neck. You have monitor, and this is to change the volume when you're monitoring with your headphones jack. And then you have your program out. So basically this is what you send to the live stream or to the recording. So right now I have everything muted, but if I wanted to, let's say if I go to USB audio, I can unmute it. Right now I'm getting 2 audio feeds going through, which is not good. That's not something that you would do. But if you were getting your audio from a webcam, you can actually use that. So if you want to listen to it as a solo, you can solo it and actually listen to it. If you have your microphone connected to the camera, you can actually use that audio. As you can see, you also have the option to use audio follow video, which means like if I switch that angle, the audio is going to be on. If the angle is not in program, then the audio is going to be off. In most cases, you want to make sure if you're using it, you toggle always on, because that's the only time they're going to be able to have that audio on a consistent basis for your program out, right? But again, as you can see, the mixer is really awesome. I really like the mixer. The way it's laid out is super clear and super clean. And again, the monitor is super responsive, so you can access it anytime. And as you can see, there's this little bar showing me how much time that I, been recording or live, whatever. We got some graphics in here. As you can see, I can add a new graphic. You have a title. Again, for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to show you everything, but as you can see, you have a title. You can add a lower third. You can add animated text. You have a digital clock. You have analog clock. You have bullet list. You have social media. You have your logo. You have a scoreboard. You have a timer. You have a stopwatch. You have a web page. You have custom, man, it's just, you can add so many things when it comes to graphics. Right now I have this digital clock, and as you can see, I can just add it. I created it yesterday. I can add it to the program, and if I just want to show what time it is right now, and it's gonna be showing, I don't know if it's the right time, but I would have to set the right time right now. But yeah, and you want to take it off. If I want to add something like lower third, as you can see, I have some built-in lower thirds already, which is awesome. So I can choose something like this, and then I can have main title. They say Sam. As you can see, the keyboard is awesome. And then this one, I can call it live production tips. Hit save. And as you can see, I can position it anywhere I want on the screen. I can even make it a little smaller, so it's not taking too much time. And then hit save. So right now it's available. If I want to use it on the stream, right now I can actually show it, boom, and it shows no problem, so which is awesome. Next up, we have this pen for writing. If I want to write on screen, I can choose what color that I want, boom, boom, And then as soon as I'm done, I can take off that. So if I'm doing like a quick demo, I can, just draw, not write, but draw. If I want to draw some stuff on the screen, I can do it. And I can choose any color that I want, which is awesome. Another thing, if I go to the 3 dots here, we have the PTZ capabilities. So if I'm using a PTZ camera or the OBSBOT, which is the OBSBOT right now that I'm using, the OBSBOT Tiny 2, or any OBSBOT camera that has PTZ, as you can see, I can control my PTZ camera right now or my OBSBOT Tiny 2. So if I want, I can turn off autofocus. I can turn on autofocus and turn off the tracking. So if I move, you can see that it stopped tracking me. So now I want to make sure I turn it on again. As you can see, now it's tracking me. All right. If I go to have some presets here, boom, some presets, I can go back to position 1. Or if I want to, this is my focus. If I want to do manual focusing, I can do that. Now, if I want to zoom in, let's say I want to zoom in and then hit P1, it's going to go back. Or if I want to zoom in again, and then hit store and then zoom in, something like this. And then let's go to P2. So if I go P1, P2, P3, as you can see, P2, it's going to go back to that position that I just did. P2 and P1, I just set them up to the same position, but I can go store and then I can change it again to something like this, maybe something like this, and then hit done. So if I go to P2, P3, P1, as you can see, it's gonna go to that, store, and then change position, and then hit P1. So now it's saved to P1. I can do P3, I can do P2, and I can do P1. So you can see that you can create some presets if you want. And of course, I can set it up back to the original position, and I can go to my focus and turn on autofocus. Right now, you can see my face is in focus and it's not tracking. So I can turn on the tracking again. And right now it's tracking. So this is super cool, to be able to control the PTZ camera. Go ahead and actually turn on all the graphics and everything, but you can turn on, there you go. And I can go back to switch settings or custom. If I go to custom, as you can see, it's gonna give me the things that I wanna be, the options that I wanna see on screen. But some of these things like background music, we got PTZ, that's not showing, we got the scoreboard, stopwatch. Some of these things that if you want them to go up here, you can actually do that. And some of the things here, like the buttons they want to display on screen, you can actually change them. You can even, like, I believe I can move this one, volume under graphics, whatever, put this one on the top. I think it's good to have this on the top. So as you can see, like, the monitor is really super responsive and it's awesome. And then whenever you want, you can actually just make everything, the menu disappear, which is awesome. So the next thing we're gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you how to go live, and we're gonna end this video before it gets too long. So to be able to go live, all you gotta do, you gotta go to this button. All right. By the way, the record button is this one. If I hit it, I'm just gonna stop recording because I'm already recording. We got this one is to take a picture, right? And we got this one is for going live. So once you hit that going live button, they say if I wanted to go live on YouTube, as you can see, I have my YouTube account already connected. All right. So if I wanted to, I can just hit connect. And what it's going to do right now, it's going to send a stream to YouTube. It's already set to actually go live because I'm logged in. And right now it's actually streaming at 16 megabits per second. And let me show you actually what it's gonna look like. So as you can see, the live stream is running right now. I didn't even have to do anything. So once you have your YouTube account connected, it does go live automatically. It just, uses one of the settings that you had before. But another way of doing it, you can go into your YouTube account and actually set up a stream. You can actually schedule a stream. Once you have a stream scheduled, you can go inside here on the device and actually be able to find that stream that you have scheduled before and use all the settings, because you need to have a thumbnail and stuff like that. That's probably gonna be for another video, but as you can see, it's super, super easy. As you can see, the stream is running, no problem. I'm live on YouTube. The only problem, I forgot to set my bit rate. Right now, I'm streaming at 16 megabits per second, which is super high. It's actually too high because I'm using the encode 1, which is the same encode or the same encoder that I'm using to record. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, I can go ahead and end the stream right now. So I can just hit disconnect. And once it asks me, it's going to ask me if I want to disconnect, and it's going to stop recording, no problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to set up a new stream. So if I was to stream, usually, let's say I was to stream to Facebook, you would go on the stream and then I'll hit the login. And then once you hit the login, really, it's going to ask you which encoder that you want to use. You want to use the encode 1 or encode 2. So as you can see, as you remember, you can use the encode 1, encode 2 for either recording or streaming. So encode 2, it was set to be on program. Encode 1, it was set to HDMI 2 and set to 16 megabits per second because I'm using it to stream. So these are things you have to be aware of. Either you're recording or streaming, you need to set up your encoders the right way. So right now, if I was to use like this one right now is set to be used for Facebook Live because Facebook Live takes 1080/30 at 6 megabits per second max. So I can check that. What you need to do is you need to go ahead and actually log in. So to log in, what's going to happen is it's going to give you, the device is going to give you a code, this code right here. What you need to do, you need to go to facebook.com/device. And then once you get there, Facebook is going to ask you to enter this code. You're going to enter the code. Once you enter the code, and then it's going to log you in actually, technically, and it's going to connect to the device. Once you are connected, you are able to actually, just go live, no problem, which is awesome. So it's super easy. Unless you're doing some sort of like custom RTMP, as you can see, it says failed. But other than that, it's actually super easy. Even YouTube is the same concept. You just connect and boom, you go live, no problem. So I was able to go live, no problem. I thought I could go live to 2 platforms at the same time. That's what I was expecting, but it did not work. And when I looked into the specs, actually, I found out that you can record 2 feeds at the same time, but I didn't see anywhere they say that I could actually go live to 2 platforms at the same time. I tried it. It kind of worked, but one platform would disconnect right after. So maybe something they're going to fix in the firmware if they want to add it, or maybe it's just a feature that's not supported. That's something that I'll have to confirm with OBSBOT. But other than that, I was able to go live, no problem. And again, as I just showed you, you can go live, no problem. So another thing you can do before we end, you can actually, if you go to settings and go to stream, you're going to get to the same menu. But if I go to YouTube here, as you can see, it's already connected to my YouTube account. Okay. So as you can see, you have different settings. I just want to show you that, guys. Okay. So it's going to ask you the ingest server, which is RTMP. And now YouTube has some other servers you can use. It's gonna ask you, this question says post to. So by default, it's gonna be set to new stream. So if you go live, you can have like a default title and description that anytime you wanna go live, like a mobile live streaming, it's just gonna go live, no thumbnail, nothing, all right? But if I go to post to, as you can see, it's gonna have some other live streams that I have set up before. So now that's what I told you guys. You can go to into your YouTube account, set up a live stream with the thumbnail and everything, kind of schedule it. And once you go in here, it's going to show up and then you can simply click to it. And then boom, it's going to be able to stream to that specific live stream that you have scheduled before, which is awesome because it's going to look more professional. Privacy, you can set up your privacy public, or you also have this option that says quick stream. Again, I don't know the difference between quick stream and a normal stream, probably something that I have to ask OBSBOT. But also, and then once you're done, you can test your network to just make sure that your bit rate and the network that you have available, the bandwidth is actually going to be okay. Just click test and you're good. Now, if I want, I can delete this YouTube connection And again, if you delete it, you're just gonna lose it, but you're gonna be able to add it, no problem. So that's pretty much it. You can also log out. So if I click log out, right now I'm gonna be logged out. And if I wanna go back to live, I would have to log in. And the same process is gonna be the same with YouTube, Facebook, and I believe Twitch is the same thing. You're just gonna go to google.com/device. It's gonna give you the code. You enter the code. Once you enter the code, you're going to be able to choose which platform or which YouTube account or which Gmail account you want to connect to. So you want to make sure you choose the one that's connected to your YouTube account, and then it's going to ask for the permission to access your YouTube account. And that's it. You're going to be able to go live anytime to YouTube. All right. So that's pretty much how the whole thing works, guys. I know this video has been super long. I wanted you guys to see everything. The device is exciting. It works well. The screen is super responsive, and I'm super excited. Thanks to OBSBOT for sending this over. And I believe this is going to be a game changer for mobile live streaming. Obviously, it's well built for outdoors and stuff like that. It's super tough. But before I end this video, I wanted to talk about some of the cons, some of the things that I actually found that should be improved. The first one, because you have two encoder settings or encoders, I believe you should be able to stream to two destinations at the same time to do like some sort of multi-streaming. So hopefully this is going to be something they're going to implement eventually. Again, I tested it. It did not work, but I believe maybe in the future, may be able to see it. I'm not sure. Again, this is going to be OBSBOT that will be able to tell us if this is going to be possible through a firmware update, or it's probably my unit because it was kind of I don't know if it's a pre-production model, but I got it before you guys, see the actual launch. So maybe it's my device. The second thing is the actual screen. So the colors on the screen, again, you guys can see the colors because I'm filming the screen right now, but the colors don't look accurate. They kind of look a little reddish, and I feel like I tried different settings. I tried neutral. I tried, like all the color boost and everything on the settings of the screen. There's no way to adjust the screen colors to kind of make it look more accurate, right? Because you need to see true colors. If I have like 3-4 cameras connected, I want to make sure my cameras look good. I want to make sure the white balance is well set. Like I don't have like a reddish or greenish or kind of weird looking picture. So right now the image on the screen kind of looks a little reddish. I don't know if it's my unit. This is probably gonna be something that I will talk to OBSBOT about, but for now it looks that weird a little bit. So if you have cameras that already have their actual LCD screens, you want to make sure you monitor just to double check that your image looks good in terms of color, not in terms of brightness and contrast and stuff like that. It's just in terms of color. So you want to make sure you monitor your image through the camera's LCD. Once the image, the image looks good, and then you should be good to do whatever you want on the monitor. But for now, you cannot rely on the monitor for color accuracy of your images. If you have a webcam connected to it, again, you need to find a way to double check, maybe connect it to OBS, make sure the colors look good, because again, the colors on the monitors, they don't look that accurate. So that's something that I hope OBSBOT is going to be able to fix. But other than that, it's a perfect device. I really love it. Now it's priced at $1,099. By the time I post this video, is it worth it? Is it too expensive? I don't know, guys. Compared to other devices like the YOLObox Mini, looking at the features and everything, this is probably gonna be for another video. But let me know down below in the comment section if you feel like this device is actually worth it. Looking at everything that we went through, all the features that I showed you guys, let me know what you think. Is it worth it? Is it too expensive? Is there any feature that you feel like it's kind of missing? I know we don't have HDMI out, but we have USB Type-C that can be used as an HDMI out kind of thing if you use DisplayPort. So some other cool things that I feel like it's got really good features in general. But again, you guys let me know down below. But other than that, in my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to actually use the NDI feature in SRT. Guys, if you have never used SRT before, SRT is a game changer. So this is something that if you are a streamer, you should look into. But don't worry, in my next video, I'm going to show you how to set up NDI and SRT on the OBSBOT talent. So as soon as the video is done, it's gonna be linked right here or here. So make sure you check it out, and I'll see you there, guys. Take care.